Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Dragon Culture Media proudly brings to you the Command Center. And today in the Command Center, Makara, sorry, I messed that up.
That's okay. It
Makara
happened.
and myself have two great topics for you today. So we're going to be talking about the White Light episodes where Tommy came back as a full-time character on the show. And then we're also going to be talking about Street Fighter. And I've got a little goodies today. I'm going to try to screen share and let's see how bad I mess that up today. It's going to be my first time trying that. Makara, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing all right, all things considered. A couple days ago, I lost my grandmother, so that was rough. But I'm doing better today. And we're going to talk about some fun topics. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about today, like I said, is White Light. It was David Frank's return to the series, full-fledged cast member, and he would stay with the series for another, was it 2 or 3 years? I believe 2. Yes, because then he left in Turbo and didn't come back until Dino Thunder. Now, funny enough, he is a heavy focus in these 2 episodes, but doesn't actually appear until the second one. So the first episode, it starts off with Kimberly rushing into the juice bar, and she's all excited. She comes up to Billy and Trini and tells them that Tommy's coming back at the end of the week. And so they're all getting excited. And then I believe Zach is also there, and he's like, we need to throw him a surprise party. So they get together, and then Kimberly asks where Jason is. And they tell Kimberly that he's playing football with some other classmates out at the park. So they go look for him. And during this, Lord Zed is watching them from the moon base. He's watching all of this. And so he plots this plan to kidnap Tommy and put the Green Ranger powers back on Tommy so he can have his evil Ranger again. To set up for this, he devises his plan to make this new monster, the Scarlet Sentinel, and he does it by enchanting a statue in the park that is a statue of a fist. And while all this is going on, and keep in mind, there is a lot going on in these 2 episodes. While all this is going on, a fireball crashes down near the park. Jason and Zach see the fireball, but Bulk and Skull also see the fireball. Bulk and Skull get to the fireball first, and it's Rita's dumpster, which had been shrunk in a previous episode.
Mm-hmm.
They grab it and they take it back to to the workshop of Skull's dad. So for the rest of the episode, as kind of like a secondary story, Bulk and Skull are trying to get into this dumpster because they want to find the secrets of the Power Rangers. They want to find the Power Rangers for whatever reason. They want to find the secrets of the Power Rangers. They don't really explain why. That's what they want to do. It's Bulk and Skull, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like, was it Cassidy Cornell and her little minion from Dino Thunder? They were always like trying to get the scoop on the identity of the Power Rangers. So it kind of goes into that story a little bit, which they're kind of like the Bulk and Skull of that show too.
Right.
I always thought that was funny. They always had a Bulk and Skull type character.
It was nice to have that comedic relief because even though it was a kid shows, Power Rangers had always had its very intense moments. And sometimes it was a little too intense for the age group in which it was intended for.
Yeah.
Which is something that you see in these two episodes. Going back and watching them, you notice a change in production style. So the music is more produced because they're coming up on the release of, like, while they're doing this, they're filming the movie. So they reuse a lot of the music that they used in the movie around this time. So
yeah, the music is great. That music was great.
quality. Hmm. It was it was great music, and then like it actually had lyrics to the song, because the second version of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was more like a song and just instead of just a heavy metal jingle.
Hmm.
But then going back into the show, so Jason and Zach, they call on the other Rangers to come and check out this statue. And there's like this green ooze coming out of the statue, and they don't know what it is. And unbeknownst to them, on the other side, there's this face forming. So they choose to go back to Billy's lab, which is supposed to be at his house. With all this going on, they don't really outright say it, but it seems like it's like a Saturday or something because they're not in school and it's midday. And they were at the juice bar and then they were at the park and then now they're at Billy's house. So they're kind of like traveling all over the place. And I'm like, well, if they were in school, they really wouldn't be able to do that. So it must be like a Saturday or a Sunday or something. But I think that's a safe assumption to make.
Yeah.
So while they are at Billy's lab, they hear this explosion. And so it's like they're freaking out a little bit because in the time period that they went to Billy's lab, they're not able to get a hold of Zordon or Alpha. And that's because earlier in the episode, you see Zordon and Alpha basically shut everything down in the command center and they go into like a secret room. And you're like, what in the world's going on? Where are they going? Why are they going? You know? And it's like they think everything's fine in Angel Grove, but the moment they disappear, Lord Zed's like, all right, let's go to work. Let's destroy Angel Grove. They're gone. There's a disturbance in the grid. Let's take advantage of it. So by the time of these episodes, the Rangers have the Thunder Zords now at this time. And so they're fighting the putties because the Scarlet Sentinel's not ready yet. So they fight off the putties. By the time they fight off the putties, the Scarlet Sentinel is ready now. They fight that, they lose. They call their Zords. They fight it with their Zords, and they lose again. And you're like, well, dang, this monster is really strong. The Rangers they can't get the upper hand. And so the Rangers actually retreat and they go back to Billy's. They all go back to Billy's lab, but Billy goes to the command center, and Billy's like, I got to find out where Alpha and Zordon went. So he's touching buttons on the controls at the command center, and he's like, well, let me try my access code. So he punches in his access code, and the door that Alpha went through shows up. So he goes into that door. And when he goes into that door, he starts falling. It was like just a drop. And he hits the bottom, and there's this grate there, like you would see like at a street or whatever. And he's peeking through, and you get your first shot of the White Ranger suit without its shield. It's just the helmet, the gauntlets, and the boots, but it doesn't have the shield yet.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first time I saw that as a kid, I was actually disappointed because the whole time in my mind, I'm thinking, well, where's Tommy? And the suit doesn't look cool. He doesn't have a shield. Like the Green Ranger had a shield. Like, where's the shield? And you got to remember, like, I had no knowledge of Super Sentai at the time, so I didn't know what was coming, but I just remembered this intense disappointment as a kid. And that was the end of that episode. And it ends with Billy seeing the White Ranger. The beginning of the second episode, Billy's back at his lab and he's talking to the other Rangers and he's telling the other Rangers that Zordon and Alpha are making a new Ranger. And Kimberly says exactly what I was thinking as a kid. She's like, well, what about Tommy? Like, Tommy is our teammate. Like, who's this other guy? And and Jason's upset. They're all upset, and I'm like, yes, like they get it. And so then Zordon and Alpha, they come out of the secret room. Zordon tells Alpha to call the Rangers. So the Rangers teleport to the command center. And then Zordon tells them that there's a new teammate coming, and down comes the White Ranger like a god, just a bright white light blinding the Rangers, coming down from the ceiling. And what did you know it? He's got a shield now. And I'm like, I remember as a kid, I'm like, okay, this is actually cool now. I'm like, damn it, but it's still not Tommy. Well, wouldn't you know it? It cuts to commercial. Right at that moment, right as he comes down, as he's taking his helmet off, it cuts to commercial.
Those darn tootin' commercials.
And a kid, you're like, ah, I just, and it comes back from the commercial. He takes the helmet off, and it's Tommy. And as a kid, I'm just like, complete shock.
I kind of had the opposite reaction because I was like, it's Tommy, There's no way they'd like take out. I mean, especially like you just kind of had that feeling because it's like he was too good of a character, and it's like it's Tommy. It's got to be Tommy.
Well,
Even
I was like 4 years old at this time, so it was very easy for me to be for them to get me.
Yeah.
But Kimberly passes out from, I guess, from the shock.
Yeah.
The other Rangers are all celebrating. They're hugging Tommy, and there's Kimberly off to the side, passed out on the floor. And as an adult, I find that absolutely hilarious. I'm just like, this girl just passed out, and everyone else is celebrating because their friend is back. And Tommy moves them all aside, and he goes and picks her head up, and he's like, "I'm back." And then they do the cheesiest like scene from like a romance movie or whatever. She's like, "Is it you? Is
So
it
we have
really you? Am I dreaming?"
so we have a comment. The Grand Duke he said that episode was history in the making, and then he goes, "I thought it was that guy Trini was crushing on that was in the white suit."
Funny enough, if you're familiar with the comics, Matt from the comics is actually in this episode. So they actually pulled Matt from this series, and yeah, they changed it in the comics. Trini was crushing on him, but in the comics they made him end up Kimberly's boyfriend after Tommy and her broke up. So
yeah, I
I
remember
thought that
that.
was interesting.
I remember crying as a kid because then Tommy got the Dear John letter, and I was like, "Oh no!" But then Kat came along. I was like, "Okay, I liked Kimberly more, but I like Kat, and he seems really happy." So
Kat is really, the whole situation around Kat is really messed up. I think it's really messed up because she was originally a cat. Like her name, Catherine Hiller, they gave her that name because she was a cat and she was turned into a real person, and she was evil at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then she became good, like Tommy, and then she ends up dating Tommy. And I'm thinking, for me, thinking back, and it's like she was originally an animal. She wasn't actually human.
Yeah, they kind of Sailor Mooned that with like Luna, making her human.
So yeah, that was always messed up for me. But anyway, like a typical Power Ranger episode, clearly the Rangers saved the day. Now they actually split off into like 3 groups. So the command center alarm goes off, and they see that Bulk and Skull are trying to open the space dumpster that has Rita. And then oh, what else? There was something else that was going on. I just watched it. How did I forget it that quick? Um there was something else going on that Zordon had Jason, Zach, and Billy take care of. Oh, Zordon sent Jason, Zach, and Billy to repair the Zords from the previous battle with the Scarlet Sentinel. Then he
Mhm.
sent Trini and Kimberly to Bulk and Skull to stop them from opening the dumpster. And then he sent Tommy on his own to face the monster. And so you get your first view of Tommy with Saba and Tommy with the white tiger sword. And what's weird is he's kicking ass, but while all the other Rangers are away, he actually loses. Like immediately, your first experience with the White Ranger, and he's supposed to be the most powerful Ranger to ever exist, and he loses.
Well, they kind of just wanted to emphasize the whole group dynamic. The ensemble helps. You can't do everything alone, which which
True.
which I can get. But yeah, it's like, but again, Tommy was. I feel like he was kind of trying to get used to his new powers and stuff. So.
Well, they do show that because him and Saba struggle to communicate at first,
Mm-hmm.
and then they start getting things back into like they start getting into a rhythm. Um, but I found it weird that the Scarlet Sentinel beat Tommy with the exact same move that she beat the Rangers with in the previous episode. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, did they not learn anything? Why didn't the Rangers give Tommy a heads up or something? You know. But
Right.
this is my
Writing.
criticisms as an adult. These are the criticisms I have today. When I'm
Yeah.
picking apart a 30-year-old show. But anyway, he retreats, he regroups, and Jason comes to his aid. And you get this really cool shot of Jason's Thunder Dragon Zord in battle mode riding the Tiger Zord. And he is spinning his sword, and it looks really cool. And then you get this first person shot. So from the purview of the Red Dragon Zord, and he's jousting the other monsters, the other giant monsters. And it's a really cool shot. And then, so Kimberly and Trini, they stop Bulk. Well, they don't really stop them. Rita kind of peeks out and scares the crap out of them, and they pass out. A lot of passing out in this episode.
Not for the faint of heart.
Right? So when Kimberly and Trini get there, they're like, "Oh, okay, let's just take the dumpster, put her back in." They stuffed her back in, closed the lid. They take the dumpster, and then in that time period, the other Rangers they repair the Zords, and then you get your first shot of what they call it, the Mega Tiger Zord, where it's the Tiger Zord with the Unicorn and Griffin Zord for boots, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's cool. You get that little combo action there. They finally defeat the monster, and so the episode's winding down, and the Rangers they send the space dumpster back to space, and that's pretty much the end of the episode. But well, it ends with them in the juice bar after they send Rita back to space. They're in the juice bar. Ernie is Ernie's making Tommy like a cake. It's clearly a birthday cake, but it says like "Welcome back," "Welcome back, Tommy."
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you get to see Matt again, and Matt is celebrating with the Rangers because he won a karate tournament. And I think I don't know for sure. I've heard rumors in the past, but I think um, Saban actually had plans for that actor that was playing Matt. And I think that's why Boom Studios actually made Matt the Green Ranger in the comics, is because I think Saban had plans for that character that just ended up not working out, you know, because they put a lot of emphasis on him in that episode. And then they did also in later episodes. But then by the time Zeo came around, he was gone.
Yeah.
So, um, but anyway, Matt is showing off his moves, and he accidentally kicks the cake out of Ernie's hand. As the cake is in midair, in comes Bulk and Skull into the juice bar, and as they walk in, the cake drops on them, and they just stop as the cake is running down their face. They just stop, look at each other, and just turn around and walk out.
Those actors are so beloved. Like Bulk and Skull are just the heart of the show, honestly.
They
Even
really
though
were.
even though they're the comedy effect, it's like even more so than Alpha.
So, as a little treat for everyone, I'm going to try my hand at screen share. And I don't know if the audio is actually working. I could hear it, but I don't know if it's coming in on your side. So, chat, if you would, just let me know if you can hear it or not. And let's add this in. And I am going to play this here. So, this is the scene where Tommy comes back. All right. So that was that. I am sorry if you couldn't hear it. Of course, no sound. But a little blast from the past there. Um, when I do that in the future, I'm gonna get some help, and so next time I screen share, there's actually sound. But anyway, so I thought I'd share that, have a little blast from the past from everyone, and yeah, Makara, any nostalgia there felt?
Oh, most definitely. And then it's funny because when my brother met my sister-in-law, I was like, we used to kind of like, she used to actually, well, because I was much younger at the time, so, and she was much older. So when we when I was babysitting, I put Power Rangers on, and we were talking. We both came to the conclusion, and we were agreeing, like, dang, Tommy really was cute. So
Uh-oh,
yeah,
not yet.
so
All right.
little chick quit there, but
um. So no, yeah, that was it. I had fun this morning watching those episodes. Like I said, I had some criticisms, but it was fun. And it's always for me, it's always fun going back and rewatching Power Rangers, any episodes. Now, some of them, like the Monsters of the Week, are really hard for me to rewatch because it's just chock full of that cheese. Now it's cheesy goodness, but I can only handle so
Mhm.
much. And when you get into the story arcs like White Light and Green with Evil and Return of the Green Ranger, um, little nod to Star Wars there with the title. Uh, it gets those are really fun.
Well,
But alrighty.
do you remember the significance of Bryan Cranston and his voice acting in the entire series, plus the how that led to the movie?
So, from my understanding, Bryan Cranston did the voice to several different monsters
That's what I
throughout
remember.
the original series, and then um, because he had done so much voiceover work, they renamed Billy to Billy Cranston. I don't remember what his original last name was supposed to be, but that was kind of a thank
Uh,
you that
yeah.
Saban did. So, because they were really appreciative of Brian. And then it's also why they thought of the 2017 Power Rangers movie. Although the member berries were fun and they were really good, they it felt like they left off on some of the story with
Mm.
with how they spent so much focusing on nostalgia and cameos and stuff. And it's weird because there really wasn't a whole lot of cameos. Like you had Kimberly, you had
Tommy.
Tommy show up. There was a lot of like background cameos as far as like the juice
Wasn't
bar and stuff like that.
wasn't the
Uh-huh.
dad of Jason, wasn't he an original actor from I thought he was an original
No,
actor from the shows.
not to
Oh.
my knowledge. But Bryan Cranston as Zordon, they specifically casted him as Zordon because of his history with Power Rangers.
Mhm.
So, um, but anyway, so let's shift gears now and let's move to Makara's topic that she wanted to talk about today, and let's talk about Street Fighter.
Yeah,
So,
nostalgia road.
so Makara, so what do you take the reins now? What all do you want to talk about with Street Fighter?
So obviously, with the release of the new Street Fighter, we've had the trailers, we've had the cast reveal, obviously. So
Hmm.
there's actually quite a bit of hype over this. I know, like the first few, uh, the movie, it's the first like few, the movie that came out years ago was like some people hated it, other people are like they looked back on it with much nostalgic fondness because of how cheesy it was. It was very like it reminiscent of Power Rangers almost, but
Almost, yeah.
yeah, I had a few little bit in there. But as a martial arts fan, and so obviously, and having had played some of the games when I was a kid with my siblings, I'm kind of looking forward to this. Like, I really hope it goes well. I love the
I
red.
grew.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I love the retro feel. I love the 1993 setting, and the retro inspired 90s fights. It's like it's very the whole aesthetic is everything I want it to be, and it's campy, and I really hope it's good because if not, I'm gonna be really bummed.
I will say this, the visuals look really good. We have no clue what the story is going to be like, but the visuals look excellent. Um, when I was growing up, the area in which I lived, Street Fighter was kind of like a Coke versus Pepsi thing. You were either a
Mhm.
Street Fighter fan or you were a Mortal Kombat fan. You weren't allowed to be a fan of the both. And me being an outcast, I liked both. So everyone, both sides thought I was weird. Um, but Guile was actually my favorite as a kid. And what was the other one? I don't think he's actually in this one, but the Indian guy who would have the stretchy arms, he used to
Mm.
always aggravate the crap out of me because he just the sound he would make and he would hit the same move over and over. It was like you were playing another kid that was just spamming the same move, and it was the computer doing it.
Yeah, I remember we used to do like the verses with when me and my siblings would do it, and we were just like they were too busy doing all the combos, and it's like I like as a kid I didn't really like understand the whole combo things, but until I was much older, but I
Right.
just pushed random buttons and I still kicked their butts.
I'll be
They
honest,
would
I still
they would
do that on Mortal
they,
Kombat.
they would get so mad too. It was just fun.
I still do that on Mortal Kombat because like the modern Mortal Kombat's games, their moves lists, each character is like a book. And I'm like, I'm not learning all those moves. I'll just play as a character and mash buttons.
Yeah, so I really had like I was more of a not necessarily a gamer, but I did play a lot of cool like some really cool retro games when we had all the back when we had all those cool toys that we like to play with. But it was just a really good some fond memories back then of just hanging out with my siblings because I was much younger. But when we did hang out, it was just a whole lot of fun, just making them mad, but also giggling with them.
I played with my cousins most of the time. I had a lot of the my first game system was the Sega Genesis. And I would always like I always had tons of games, but I would there would always only be like one or two games that I actually played and the others would just pile up, you know. Um
Mhm.
when I had the Genesis, I played 3 games all the time. There was a Ferrari branded game that I played, and, I remember I would get so mad because there was this loop on the track, and the car would get to the top and drop because I could never get the car up to speed on this one certain track. And then I played Sonic the Hedgehog,
Oh yeah, that was great.
and then I played, of course, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game.
Mhm.
And then I had my second game system was the Nintendo 64, which I just realized the other day actually came out in the 80s. The first one dropped in the 80s, and I thought it was a 90s game system. So that was news to me. But I had a Nintendo 64 because I just saw this article the other day that said it came out in '89, and I was like, I thought it came out in the early '90s, but I don't know. Anyway, I had the Spider-Man game for Nintendo 64. There was a tank game that I had. Of course, I had GoldenEye. I think everyone under the sun, if you had an N64, you had GoldenEye.
Mhm.
Um, and then I had all the wrestling games like WCW versus NWO Revenge, WCW World Tour.
How about
Uh,
Mega Man or Donkey Kong? Did you play those at all?
didn't play those. I did have the Zelda game though. I
Yeah,
had
Zelda was
that, and I did
great.
have Mario 64. I had those also. I didn't play Zelda much because I didn't understand it. It just I didn't get what the point was.
Just fun.
So I would play it and I'd be walking around and I'd be like, what am I supposed to do? Like I knew there was a princess and I knew she was in trouble, but I was like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I don't know what I'm supposed to get. Like, yeah, I was a kid that needed to be told what to do on a game.
Hey, everybody's got their own way of playing. That's part of the fun.
But anyway, let's get back to Street Fighter. So we are going to give our reviews of the individual character posters. So there's no need for sound this time, but we're going to add this in, and I'm going to pull it up on my side and try to get it to where I can see both. Okay. All right. So first we have, how do we pronounce that? Andrew Koji
Yep,
as, I always said Ryu. Did you say Ryu or Ryu?
it's Ryu.
Okay.
Like Ryu Gozaki and
Okay.
Ryunosuke.
But I see this. I'm still going to say it the way I say it. I'm sorry. We're going to have to disagree on this one. But I look at this and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's Ryu. That is Ryu.
The actor kind of looks like Benicio del Toro almost.
A little bit. I think what's his name from Bat and the Sun? I thought that like he looks very similar to him.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that did him. The next we have got Noah Centino as Ken.
Yeah, he was in Black Adam. He played the
Okay.
Adam.
Okay.
The actor was.
Right.
Obviously. So nobody
Okay.
knows. I know who he is.
I'm gonna butcher these names. I know I am. So now we've got Kalina Liang. Liang? Liang?
Yeah.
Kalina
Kalina
Liang?
Long.
Long. Okay. Yeah, I totally butchered that. But
Or
she is Chung Li. Now, I was looking at some older photos of Chun Li, and I was looking at this, and I was like, okay, yeah, she looks like Chung Li, but they really took some liberties with her costume, unlike Ken and Ryu. Like she doesn't have the fluff shoulder things like she did in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess she doesn't really need them, but it was just like,
I wonder if they did it for mobility purposes too. So when she's fighting, maybe they probably got in the way. So I wonder if they had different concepts for her costume and they landed on what could best help with fighting. Because when you're fighting, you really don't want to wear like, unless you're really skilled at it, you really don't want a whole lot of obscuring your movement.
well, something that crossed my mind is they're probably going to go through a lot of costume changes too.
That's
So
true.
we may actually get a game accurate costume. I mean, it could be a case where like she rips them off or something before a fight, for all we know.
We'll see. I'm a little more hopeful.
Oh, I'm hopeful. I'm just giving a critique. I'm like trying to understand their choice.
I'm more hopeful about this than I was about Doomsday. Let's put it that way. I know you're very hopeful with Doomsday. I'm more hopeful with Street Fighter.
That's okay. That's okay. So now we're looking at this one, and I was actually worried about this at first. Like, I like this. I like Cody Rhodes as Guile. This was my
Yeah.
favorite character, and Cody Rhodes being the All American, the American Nightmare and everything. I was like, okay, I think this is perfect. But I was worried about this because I didn't know how the fandom would react. Like Jeremy, for example, he's been really kind of black pilled in wrestling and everything. Like he does not like the modern product at all.
Mhm.
Gary, Quarter Black Garrett, they've all talked about how they watched wrestling in the Attitude Era and don't watch the modern product. So I really didn't know how everyone was going to react to it. But then I saw on F&T when they reacted to it, and Tuesday night's main event when they reacted to it, they all sung Cody Rhodes' praises, and I was like, oh, cool, and that genuinely surprised me.
Yeah, I think he looks great. So that's a plus.
They had to do some movie magic and cover his tattoo.
Yeah.
and then put a. I think it's just funny that they cover his neck tattoo to put the movie accurate tattoo on his arm.
Oh yeah, it helps. It helps when they don't have tattoos, but when they do, they just do some do some magic. Well, hopefully they did practical and not CGI, because I've seen when CGI tries to cover over an old tattoo, and it's like, oh boy.
So next we have. I've heard a lot of people sing this guy's praises. I don't really know a whole lot about him, but we got Orville Peck
Mm-hmm.
as Vega. Now, Vega, I remember Vega being extremely brutal in the games. Like his moves, he was quick and deadly, and he caused a lot of damage. So this is going to be interesting. Um, One of the things that worried me about the trailer is you didn't really see a whole lot from him. You just kind of saw him as kind of like a ring announcer, which I thought was weird.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that he's used to being masked definitely helps probably him stay in character, because he does that anyway.
All right. Next, we have got this one. I thought was the weirdest one, but it's for whatever reason it works. 50 Cent is Balrog. I got to be honest, when I saw the trailer, I didn't even realize that that was 50 Cent until I paused it and looked.
I
And then
think
I heard everyone else saying it was 50 Cent. I was like, "What? I didn't see 50 Cent." And
I think
sure enough,
that's definitely a testament to costuming. If they're able to, the whole point of an actor is they disappear into the role.
right.
I think that's great.
Absolutely. But yeah, it fooled me because I totally saw him in the trailer and didn't even realize who it was. So
Mm-hmm.
this one, I think I at first thought I thought was weird, but yet it somehow works. Jason Momoa as Blanca, and I'm like,
Finally, some usage for his comedic chops. I
this
hated,
is
I hated his Aquaman so much. I don't hate him. I just don't like his Aquaman. He wasn't the right
every,
fit for it.
everyone trashes the my man scene, and I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, but um, as far as his roles go, I'm not like when he's able to just be himself, but when it fits with a certain character, like he can do Lobo, so obviously this casting choice is perfect for him when he's able to be in his element when it calls for it.
Now, is it Blanca or is it another character that I remember there's a character with orange hair that would like turn into like a ball, kind of like Sonic, and would shoot across the screen. Was it Blanca that did that, or is it a different character?
Mm, it's been so, like I said, it's been a hot minute since I played Street Fighter, but
All right. Well,
I
let's
mean,
go to the.
I'd have to ask my brother. He usually played with a lot of the more. He liked these kind of characters. I was more into like playing some of the female characters they had.
Okay. Next one we got Vidyut Jamwal as Dalsim. Now,
Mm-hmm.
at first, I thought this was the guy that I was thinking of that would have the stretchy arms, but then something Jeremy said on Tuesday night's main event made me question that. So I don't know. This might be that guy. It may not be, but
Mm-hmm.
this is who I thought it was. But he looks like the character, so I have nothing against it.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one, we have got Oliver Richters as Zangief.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a big burly Russian. So yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if I remember correctly, he was actually a pro wrestler, so I hope we actually see him in his wrestling gear. Like the character was a pro wrestler.
See, that'd be really great.
This one, I really
I
like this one.
I
So
keep
this
thinking
is
about the memes with these. Sorry.
this is Hiroki Goto as E Honda. Now, from what my understanding is, Hiroki Goto is from New Japan Pro Wrestling, so he's actually a pro wrestler. And they
Mm.
took a big, well, not so much big, but they took a really fit Japanese pro wrestler and put him in a fat suit to be a Samoan wrestler. And I'm thinking about the irony, and I'm like, why
they
not
ba-
get an actual Samoan wrestler?
they basically kill a Harkened him, but it's like I mean, it works, you know. If he can
I
do
mean,
it,
it looks like E Honda. I have no criticism of the look. I'm pointing out the irony. The irony is they get someone
mhm.
from Japan who's not a Samoan wrestler when Japan is known for Samoan wrestling. They could have gotten an actual Samoan wrestler. So I don't know. Maybe this guy moves quick or something. I don't remember a whole lot about E Honda, so maybe they wanted someone that could move quick. So we'll
Mhm.
see. This one threw me off. I don't really necessarily have any criticism, but David Das Malchinian, I'm
Dos
totally
Malkin.
butchering these names, as M. Bison. I have this vision of M. Bison, the original M. Bison from the 80s. And so I look at this and I'm like, I don't see M. Bison, but the costume is perfect. So I'm torn. Like the costume is perfect, but then the actor just throws me off.
Yeah, well, he does really good at like getting into wacky villain characters, so we'll
Hmm.
see.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with M. Bison was a big burly dude. Like you could see the muscles coming out of his suit.
Hmm.
This dude looks scrawny. So it's like I don't know if that like he's from my understanding he's a great actor, so I'm not going to criticize his acting ability. This could be a case of when this movie comes out, he's probably the favorite character of mine. You know.
Yeah.
Um, next we have Roman
Mm.
Reigns as Akuma. I gotta be honest, that looks really cool.
Yeah, that's my brother's favorite character. He always used to like to use him when he in his battles. He used other characters, but Akuma was definitely
Mhm.
his favorite.
I don't remember a whole lot about this character, but apparently, the with the little research I did, Akuma is the reason or is connected to Ryu in a sense, like it's how Ryu gets his dark form. Is that correct?
Mm, I want to say I believe so.
Okay.
Like I said, my brother was much more into Street Fighter, so if he remembers anything, I will ask him. But but
Um,
story wise, he knew he was more familiar with the story. Again, I played just the games, and I am familiar with the characters just from a pop culture side. But I
okay.
wasn't like into the whole. I briefly remember the lore, but remember fondly the games and playing them. Just doing the fighting. I don't remember like a whole lot of like the background. I've seen
Right.
some of the movies, but again, I was really young, so this is I'm refreshing my memory. I'm giving my fresh updated take of my nostalgia, how much I
I'm probably
remember.
gonna have to honestly after today's show, I'm gonna probably have to go and look up the 1980s movie just to see if I enjoy
Well,
it or if the cheese
well,
is too bad.
watch some of the anime movies too while you're at it.
Okay. So the next
Some,
one is probably the most controversial one, and that's
yeah,
Andrew Scholes as Dan Hibiki. Now, I don't remember a whole lot about this character. I don't really know anything about this character. I know this is the one that Jeremy roasted the most.
yeah.
Um, and Gary didn't even feel like it was worth talking about. So
I don't blame them. Just from what I've seen of Andrew, yeah. We'll just leave it at that.
all right. Well, we got about 9 minutes, so let's try to get through these now. So next, this one I find the most interesting. Eric Andre as Don Savage. Again, I don't really know anything about this character. I don't really necessarily care for Eric Andre's comedy, but I'm still intrigued by this, and I'm like, okay, let's see what he does.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have Mel Jarnson as Cammy. Again, I have no idea who this woman is. She is very nice to look at. I will say that much.
A plus for the eye candy.
Absolutely. And I don't remember a whole lot about Cammy. I just remember that she looked like a very sexy flight attendant. So they nailed that. Uh, and then we've got another sexy flight attendant, and we got Raina Vallandigham as Julie. Now, if I remember correctly, Julie was the right hand of M. Bison.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, don't know nothing about the actress. Not a single thing. And next, we have Alexander Volkanovsky as Joe. I couldn't tell you the first thing about the actor or the character. Don't know nothing about these. The only thing I can assume is maybe they're later characters that came out, like later on in the series. I mean, what's crazy is this cast, and that's pretty much the last one.
Yeah, this is
This
definitely
cast is
like,
extensive. I mean, it's crazy.
it is. It's definitely like, so again, since I kind of like fell more out of touch with like the whole Street Fighter thing, this is kind of like it's taken me all back to my childhood and trying to refresh my memory. And I'll do more research before that, but it's like I also just kind of want to go into it for the whole nostalgic factor and just kind of enjoy it for what it is and hope it's good, because it's like
Right.
I enjoyed the game so much when I was little.
Yeah,
So, so even
I
though I'm
very
not
much.
familiar with like the story of it, and
Mhm.
but like I said, I I want to get more involved into the story, and hopefully this movie does it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and rewatch the '80s movie, and then I'm gonna look up the animated movies. The animated movies will probably be more for the story, and the '80s movie will
Yeah.
be more for nostalgia.
Well, the one
Um,
anime one I remember most was the one with Andy and Terry Bogard. But I wonder if that one's probably more of a different one, but I just remember like when I was a kid I enjoyed it.
I know one of the things that I liked, I agreed with Jeremy, is the car smash where they kicked the car and like destroyed the car. It was straight out of the game.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, this gives me hopes for this movie. Again, I'm what I'm hoping for is they find that balance. They focus on the story while simultaneously giving us the nostalgia and giving us the nods to the game. I've noticed that for whatever reason, Hollywood does not know how to find that balance. And I don't think this one's going to do it, but like Marvel and everything, they focus on their propaganda, and then the story and nostalgia take a hit because all they care about is their propaganda.
Yeah, now DC does the same.
Hmm. And but then it's like we went through these stages where you either got a really good story or you got the good nostalgia, but none like if you got the nostalgia, it was a shit story. But if you got the story, you got none of the nostalgia because they did what they wanted to do. But then
Hmm.
as time went on, with studios like Marvel and Disney and everything, both of those took a back seat to the propaganda.
Yeah. With the Street Fighter, it definitely like it looks like they're going for yeah, they're going for the camp, but it
Mhm.
works for the show. But it's like it's given me Accident Man kind of meets Undisputed. So it's like
Well,
that's kind of what I want. But like I hope that they can fit what I like about those because I mean, Accident Man has all the camp and it's comical. It definitely
mhm,
has it's like it's definitely how they're presenting Street Fighter, how the characters are kind of goofy, wacky. It's got the comic element, but then you have the more of the martial arts, like actual serious fighters who know what they're doing from like Undisputed, especially the
right.
Boyka movies.
I'm with you though. Like I come at it from a different angle, but I have high hopes for this movie.
Mm,
I It looks like they are focusing on the fan service. That is not always a bad thing. I do feel
no,
like the same thing with Doomsday. Like I think they're focusing on the fan service. They could be doing it the wrong way though,
yeah,
and
give,
it's weird
give
because
it story.
the studio that's doing Street Fighter, they kind of have a blank slate with me. So I have more hope and more trust with them than I do with Marvel, who has been giving us the last 7 years shit after shit after shit. So, and I say that as someone who I liked Endgame. Overall, I liked Endgame. The MCU scene, that was crap, but that's one scene out of an overall film that I enjoyed.
Yeah, I did. It's just I feel like what they did with Hulk also kind of took me out of it. And they
Yeah,
kept going with Professor Hulk, and it's like,
yeah.
uh,
I
and
got
then
tired of Professor Hulk really quick.
I did
In the
too.
moment in Endgame, I liked it. But then when he showed up again and he was still Professor Hulk, I was like, "Wait, why?"
They kind of left that like completely unresolved, which
Mhm,
bothered me because it's like Hulk would have been really good right now against Thanos, but no, they wanted to have Captain Marvel come in, and then they wanted to give Tony his moment. I was like, it would have been really nice to get a good Hulk moment in that movie, but no. But then, of course, Mark Ruffalo completely ruins everything. So,
Well, we're gonna have to call it there. Chat, thank you for being here. Thank you so much. I had really fun today, Makara,
I did too.
and we will be back here next week, Thursday, 10 a.m. Come back to join the command center. All right. Have a good day, y'all.